And we're live. Hello, welcome to Character Day. I'm gonna say hi.
Hello.
Hello. This is the Moxie Film Studio live in San Francisco, and we are broadcasting Character Day. There's over 6,700 screenings in classroom, schools, and organizations in 41 countries. We're so excited. Just to give you a sense, last year was 1,500 screenings, so it was a huge jump this year. We're so happy that you're all with us. And I know the other part of the world, Character Day is starting. There's a whole bunch of screenings happening right now, and a lot of you are going to be asking questions, which we really look forward to. And if you can ask your question using the hashtag Character Day, all one word, we will see them in the Twitter stream, and then we will be selecting some of the questions, and I'll ask you, and I have some questions myself. But, you know, this is an experiment, this global cloud film premiere, and it's been so exciting to just see so many partners and organizations hosting their own special event. And the concept was really that we wanted to catalyze a global conversation on character in the 21st century. And we wanted to premiere a film in a new way and engage people, just basically give everyone the film to premiere, provide downloadable discussion cards and discussion guides. Some people got printed ones if they were the first grouping when we announced it. And then we can have a global conversation. And we think there's a lot of power and magic that happens when you have everyone focus on one conversation, one day. There's a choice of 3 films people can watch. They can either watch The Science of Character, which is 8 minutes, and that film premiered last year, and that's available on our site, Let It Ripple. Or you actually, an easier URL to use is characterday.org. Or you can watch one of our new films, The Adaptable Mind, which is 11 minutes, about the skills we need to flourish in the 21st century, or The Making of a Mensch, which is really the science of character through a Jewish lens. And I'm Jewish, I was interested in it, and a lot of people encouraged me to delve deeply into my own history on character, which was really interesting. So I am super excited to introduce our first guest speaker. And I'm gonna read his official title here. Did I forget to say anything from my team here? So you have Sawyer right here. We make movies together. Did I forget to say anything? Let's block the kitchen.
Yeah.
We've been working really hard.
We've been working really hard to bring this conversation out there, and we're really excited to hear what you all have to say and to ask and to see photos that you tweet, and just share all of your experiences about screening the films and what kind of conversations you have.
Fantastic, yes. Okay, so now we are going to introduce our first speaker. I'm going to read his official introduction, although we are good friends at this point because he worked on a film with us last year called A Case for Dreaming, and he taught us a lot about the neuroscience of daydreaming. And he's a brilliant man. He was a filmmaker before this impressive title I'm going to read to you. Not that being a filmmaker isn't impressive, but this is academic professor. But, okay. Dr. Michael Rich is considered the mediatrician, and he is the director of the Center on Media and Child Health. And he's an associate professor of pediatrics at Harvard Medical School, associate professor of social and behavioral sciences at the Harvard School of Public Health. And like I said, he was an esteemed filmmaker before he threw that all away and is working on it. You're not throwing it away!
Never.
Okay. So welcome. Let me get you on the screen here so I can stop looking at myself, which is, after no sleep, is no fun. Okay.
Thank you, Tiffany. Well, I want to say you can take the film out of the you can take the boy out of film, but you can't take the film out of the boy.
That's good to know. I know, because you want to make more films, right?
With you.
We can do that. We got a couple in the cooker. But now your work, actually tell us what you focus on, because your work is so interesting to me.
Well, you know, for the last half century or so, there's been this huge debate about first, you know, television, and now the internet and cell phones and all this. And we have these values-based preconceptions about how we're being changed by the screens that we use, even the way we talk about it, the idiot box, the boob tube. And what we're trying to do is bring the same level of rigorous science to the way that we are influenced by the screens we use and how we use them, that we bring to things like nutrition or safety, and to have that evidence base from a purely public health perspective, not from a right and wrong or moral or immoral perspective, to understand how we are changed, because we're changed in positive as well as negative ways. And we should go into this with our eyes open. And that's basically what we're trying to do, is collect that evidence and offer it to parents, teachers, clinicians, anyone who is involved with the raising of children.
Now, a lot of educators, the screenings are happening sometimes to whole schools or organizations. And there's a lot of educators on here. And I mean, do you feel, I guess one of the things that we explored in both films is how the conversation around character is bubbling up in so many different sectors of society right now. And I'm curious why you think that is. And we have our own thoughts on why are people wanting to talk about character? I mean, do you think it's the media and the screens that we're being so influenced by so many things that we're needing to kind of reset the balance on just character development? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think there is a strong tendency with the intense amount of time we spend and the engagement we have with screens to be carried along in the flow of sort of cultural preconceptions of the way we should look, the way we should behave, the way we should be. And so there's a real tendency not only to imitate those edgy things that are used to entertain, but are not great in real life, but also to become kind of homogenized, and everybody looks alike and feels alike. And I think that the interest in character is coming back simply because people are saying, this is what I have. I have me. I have my spirit. I have my soul. I have my sense of humor. And there is no other me out there, and I want to optimize that. And it's all about being mindful and being aware of who we are, who we aspire to be, and trying to bring those two things together rather than pretending to be just like everybody else.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, along with the conversation of character, there's so much conversation about mindfulness. And actually, I loved the neuroscience term of it, which is metacognition, thinking about thinking. I mean, we wanted to get that into one of the films. It will be in another film, but metacognition, that this unique human ability of being able to think about thinking. And there is this upswell of conversation about mindfulness, which I think is also trying to counter the overstimulation we're all feeling with all the notifications and screens. And there's so many things pinging our brains every day that it feels like, we need more skills to balance in the face of all those distractions also.
I think we need to think about feeling as well as think about thinking. I think that there is a strong tendency to want to process everything and have some concrete mathematical almost answer for things, instead of trusting our inside, our gut, our feeling for what's going on. And I think a lot of that arises from the fifth of the five values in the first film that people saw tonight, which is empathy. And I think that people talk about teaching empathy and giving kids empathy. But here's the interesting reality. We're born with empathy. Go to a newborn nursery, and one baby starts crying, and then the baby beside him starts crying, and the baby beside her starts crying. Not because they're wet or hungry, but because someone is crying. And so a lot of what some of the concerns are about this bombardment of screens is that we get desensitized, not just to things like violence or antisocial behavior of any kind, but also to each other, that we become insulated from our feelings and become insulated from our sense of being part of a larger organism called humanity.
I love that. I mean, I have two thoughts. One was, you know, the empathy idea is, well, two things is that this Google Hangout, like I'm trying to look you in the eye about empathy, and then I keep trying to remind myself, look at the camera. Because I'm probably, and it's such a tricky thing. Like I can't wait till they, on the phone and a Skype, all of it, that the camera is, there's some fake dot that I'm looking at so we can look eye to eye, because I feel like these Skypes and Google Hangouts, they're like one notch slightly, like I can't have direct eye contact with you. And that's so much about empathy. And we tried to visualize that in the film, in the Adaptable Mind film. We have a big section on empathy. And also, I mean, so many of the issues around racism in our country, I feel like are all about empathy. And in the Making of a Mensch film, we had a line, but we cut it. But I hope the idea came through, which was that when we talk about our country's biggest issues or global problems, we don't often talk about the inner work that needs to happen to fix those problems. We're like going above policy and all this stuff, but so much of it is this basic empathy is so much a part of our country's biggest problem. One of our biggest problems. We have many, but certainly.
And perhaps that's where this idea of thinking about feeling comes in, because in some ways, it's not just thinking about the good feelings we have, but recognizing in ourselves the negative feelings that we have, the instinctual negative feelings of fear of the unknown, or of, is this person going to hurt me or take advantage of me? And there has to be an awareness that that's there, and a conscious quelling of that, and recognition of that. If we're going to solve problems like racism, that, you know, we have to recognize that we're bringing baggage to the table in virtually every interaction we have, and move to a place where we see each new person as an opportunity for a new adventure.
That's beautiful. We have some questions coming in through the hashtag. Is there interesting neuroscience research around empathy that you're excited about? We looked at Rebecca Sachs's work from MIT for the Adaptable Mind, but you're always, you're right at Harvard there. So is there interesting research?
Oh yeah, we all get together and talk about this every evening over my time.
Neuroscience.
That's sort of like saying, you live in New York, so how's Derek Jeter? Right? You know.
Are you excited by any neuroscience around empathy?
I think the interesting work, and you know, you caught me off guard. I don't have my references in front of me with names and dates and papers.
I didn't mean to do that.
But the most interesting work that I find is the work around mind and body, which is understanding the physiologic changes that happen in our bodies when we laugh, for example. When we feel loved, or when we simply feel a part of something bigger, that this person really likes being in the same space with me, even if it's only through Google Hangouts.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually, that is a film. I mean, if we want to work on another, which I hope we do, but I've always wanted to do on laughter. What happens when you laugh? That amazing feeling when you get the belly laugh, and all the endorphins, and what is the physiology of laughter and biology. Yeah.
Let's do it. But we have to make sure to laugh.
We always laugh. We always laugh together. Okay. We've had a lot of funny Skypes. We're always, aren't we, sir, when we're talking this? Okay, so another question in from, wait, you handed me, there was one other one. In terms of, like when you're speaking, you were telling me you're giving a big keynote. I mean, what's the advice that you give to parents and educators around the screens? And I mean, we could probably tie whatever you're going to say to character, because it's advice on how to manage all of this that's coming at us 24/7.
Oh, wow, you're trying to boil it down into a single thing. I think that the most important thing is to value your time and value your attention. because the advertisers pay big money for your attention, and oftentimes we are thinking of killing time, just turning on the television and letting it wash over us, or just jumping around online to various Facebook pages or whatever, looking for something to fill ourselves with, as opposed to seeing these screens as tools to make incredible connections like we're doing right now with Character Day around the world. This is not about the screens. This is not about the internet. This is not about Google. This is about human beings reaching out and touching each other in new ways, but ultimately doing something that we've been doing since the dawn of time, which is being together and being connected.
Oh, I love that. I mean, that's the most exciting part. Sorry.
I know. There was a request for a fan, but it didn't really work out so well.
You ever feel like you're the one kid in the class that doesn't get the joke?
Tiffany writes me a note that says fan, so I turned off the fan, and then I get a note that says I want fan, so then I blew her out of the screen.
I'm so hot.
That's what Paris Hilton says.
No, I'm like dying. I'm schwitzing up. My face is just getting so shiny.
I don't know if we have a solution for that.
Is this when we break saying we have technical difficulties?
We have not slept. This is like
techno-emotional difficulties.
Sleepless. Okay.
Right.
Wait.
I go safely off screen.
There's another film on sleep deprivation coming up.
Oh, okay. Wait.
What can you tell us about that?
You're experiencing it right now.
You were this notion of filling our time, right? And moving away from that. And you were saying some really important messages, which I think speak to obviously both films, but that constant sort of checking in with who you want to be, right? Is that sort of the
Well, I think, and he was saying that in terms of media, that so much media is trying to get you to want to be something else.
Thing,
yeah,
right.
And that, I mean, I think
recalibrating to your own sense of.
Mm-hmm. And I think the breakdown of what was so exciting to us when we first made The Science of Character was actually seeing a breakdown. Seligman and Peterson's work, positive psychology work, where they broke down character strengths into 24 character strengths that lead to 7 virtues that all cultures across history agree lead to meaning and purpose. And that something about like seeing it laid out in a periodic table, but when we put it in a periodic table, but laid out in a chart, it made it so much more accessible to figure out what you wanted to work on. I mean, I think everyone would say, okay, I'm a curious person, or I'm impatient, or I'm this. Like, we all know our strengths and weaknesses. You just heard both of mine, by the way, curious and impatient. But but seeing a chart of 24, which we've provided to all the educators to put in their classrooms, and we've heard a lot of great work about educators saying, to the students, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, and then just have it up all year since last Character Day, and the kids see what they need to work on and what their strength is, and to be appreciated for that. And so that there's real value in having a language for all of this stuff.
Well, I would argue with you on one point, and that is, you said we all know our strengths and weaknesses, and I think that many of us do not because we can't know them, but because we don't put the effort into learning them and into being aware of them. And I think that this is a learned skill, and this is why it's valuable to do a Character Day and to really think through the science of character. Because first of all, it offers all of us hope that we can be better, that we can do better. It gives us something concrete to focus on and to work on. It also gives us the ability to recognize what we admire in other people, and what we can learn from them, and make them our mini mentors in patience or in curiosity, whatever it is that we feel that they exemplify or live more intensely or more fully than we do.
I love that. I mean, even I have like a list of my heroes, and it used to just be the people I admired. And then I really started to identify why did I admire them? What aspect of their lives did I admire? Was it that they had a great marriage? Was it that they had, they were great creatively, and very often it was like 2 or 3 things, but it's actually, if you do have a heroes list, which I highly recommend, it's great to think about the people you admire and why, and like break down their attributes. I think that is really helpful. And just going back, because we're almost at the end, although love talking to you, and we're going to make another movie very soon. But I think one of our goals really also with Character Day is working on oneself and one's character is not, I think that was a derogative term of like self-help or whatever. And it's so much, the bigger picture is you're working on yourself so you can contribute better to your family, to your community, and ultimately to the world. It's looking at the world problems from this direction out instead of world problems overwhelming, I don't know how to fix it in. And I think that's one of our really big goals with this day.
Well, it's the ultimate all politics are local.
Yes. Very local. Very local. Cellular.
To hear. And I think the other piece of this is that we need to understand that this is a process, and we are all works in progress, and we will always be works in progress. We will not get there. We will always be striving to something more. And we also, in that process, need to achieve a state of grace and self-forgiveness, accepting it. And my dog wants to join the conversation.
Okay. We love talking to you. Thank you. That's a perfect note to end. We're constantly can be learning and growing and evolving who we are. I hope to be saying that when I'm 90 years old. And yes, thank you for your time. And we will be talking to you very soon, Michael.
And I want to raise my hand to be included. Okay, I'm one.
You are.
But also, once we raise our hands, we need to offer our hands. Where is the screen? To each other.
To the camera.
Exactly.
Awesome. Great talking to you. Have a great night.
Bye. Take care. You too. Have a great Character Day.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.